Hi everybody and welcome back to Meals of the Week. So today is Monday and we are going to be having a pork loin dinner. I've got some baking potatoes, some carrots, some pork loins, and we also have some ready-made mash. So to start off, I have seasoned my pork loins with salt, pepper, mixed herbs and also a little bit of dried garlic. These are now going to go into the oven for around 25 minutes at gas mark 5. For the roast potatoes, I've just cut these into chunks, seasoned them with salt, pepper and mixed herbs and a little drizzle of oil. These are going to go into the air fryer at 180 for 15 minutes. Once everything is nearly cooked, I'm going to just poke some holes into the ready-made mash because it is so easy, and put this into the microwave for around 5 minutes. Once the mash has come out of the microwave, I'm just going to add some butter to this. It makes it taste so much better. And this is what it looks like when everything is finished. Ayla has got some carrots, they are raw because she doesn't like them cooked. She's got her pork, mash and little roast potatoes, and I've got everything the same except I don't have any carrots. So I'm just going to add some gravy on top. Please excuse the fact it's been made in a cup. My jug needed a wash, so I had to make it in a large cup. And this is what we had for our tea tonight. On Tuesday, I made a homemade chicken parmo. Now, this is something you typically get in pizza shops, takeaway shops here in the northeast, but more specifically in the Teesside area. So I'm going to start off by making my bechamel sauce, which is just flour and butter to make a roux. So to start the roux, I'm just going to melt butter in a pan. I did add a tiny bit of garlic in here just for flavour. And then once that has melted down, you're just going to add in your flour. You're going to want to keep mixing this all together and you'll end up with this batter sort of consistency. You want to cook this off for a few minutes as you're cooking the flour that's inside. After a few minutes, you're going to add in your milk, a little bit at a time, and eventually it will turn into a sauce. And that is my bechamel sauce now finished. If it's a little bit too thick, you can always add some more milk in, but I'm just making it first and then that way I can just heat it up when I need it. For the chicken, I'm just going to butterfly a chicken breast. I'm then going to dip each piece of chicken into the egg wash and then into some breadcrumbs. For my chips, I am going to make homemade chips. Ideally, I would have had bigger potatoes for this, but I only had baby ones, so we're just going to have mini chips to go with our parmo. These are now going to go into the air fryer for about 15 to 20 minutes and I'm going to season them with salt, pepper and paprika. On a medium heat, I'm going to cook the chicken for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side and then flipping over. I will then repeat this with the other chicken breast once this one is done. Once the chicken was finished frying, I did heat up my bechamel sauce just to make it a little bit easier to spread, as it does get quite thick when it goes cold. And I'm going to top this with lots of cheese. These are now going to go back into the oven for about 10 minutes on a high heat just to let that cheese melt. This was my first time attempting to make a parmo, and I think they turned out pretty good. I think the cheese maybe could have been left into the oven for a little bit longer, but either way it's turned out fairly well. This is what we had for our tea tonight, and it was really tasty. Today's Wednesday and we are going to be having a chicken korma with rice. This is one of Ayla's favourite dishes to have, so she was so excited when I said this is what I was making for our tea. We've got the sauce, poppadoms, mini naan breads and the chicken, and also some pilau rice. I'm going to start by cutting up my chicken fillets into chunks. I will be cooking them in a little bit of butter because I've run out of oil. I do need to nip to a shop and go get some. Once the chicken has finished cooking, I'm then going to add in the sauce. I probably didn't need to add the whole jar in. That was an accident, but it doesn't matter. So we're going to stir this and let it simmer on a low heat for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then whilst that's doing that, we're going to get on with the naan breads and the rice. And this is everything once it is finished cooking. We have got the rice, the korma, a little bit of a poppadom and also a mini naan bread each. And this is what we had for our tea tonight. Today is Thursday and we're going to be having something a little bit different. I'd seen a recipe on the Tesco website and I thought I'd give it a go. So we're going to have pork loins with a marmalade sauce on top with garlic baby potatoes. I'm going to start with the potatoes as these take the longest to cook. The little ones are going straight in the pan and the bigger ones I'm just going to cut them in half. These are going to boil for about 10 to 15 minutes or until fork tender. For the pork loins, I'm just keeping it relatively simple. I'm just going to season these with salt and pepper on both sides. In a pan, I'm just going to melt some butter. I would use oil normally, but I haven't got any. And I'm going to cook the pork loins for about 7 minutes on each side. I've drained the water from my potatoes and added in some garlic butter. These are now going to go into the air fryer for about 15 minutes whilst I get on with the marmalade sauce. For this sauce, I'm just using half of a chicken stock cube with a little bit of garlic and just melting this down with some boiling water. I'm then going to add the mix into a pan and add in about 200 grams of marmalade. This is going to be on a low to medium heat until it reduces down and eventually it will thicken up to a sauce. And this is it once everything is finished. It was actually really nice. Me and Ayla both enjoyed it. You could have a variety of different veg. As you know, I don't eat it and Ayla can be a little bit fussy with which one she will eat. Overall, it was really nice. And this is what we had for our tea tonight. It's finally Friday and we are going to be trying something new for tea tonight. We are going to be trying this gnocchi with 4 cheese sauce with some garlic bread, and I'm also going to cut up some sausage, so we're going to have some little sausage pieces in a mong. I've chopped up 4 chipolata sausages. They're only small ones, so we needed quite a few of those. And I'm going to cook these in some oil until they start to go crispy. Once the sausage was cooked, I put it to one side in a bowl and cleaned the pan out. So in here I have some clean oil, a little bit of water, the gnocchi and also the cheese sauce squares that came in the bag. After around 8 minutes when the gnocchi was cooked, I then added in the pork pieces and just reheated this through. The cheese sauce seemed to disappear from the gnocchi, so I did add a sprinkle of mozzarella over the top, and that is everything all done. And this is everything once it is plated up. We have got some garlic bread, the gnocchi, and Ayla's also got some cucumber slices and a juice. We both enjoyed this. It was really nice and something we would definitely have again. If you like this week's Meals of the Week, guys, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.